حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
نستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. We praise Him, we seek His help, we seek His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil of our own selves. Whom Allah guides, there is none who can lead him astray, and whom Allah leads to stray, there is none who can guide him aright. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except Allah alone and without partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his slave and messenger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him with the truth as a bearer of glad tidings and a warner ahead of the hour. Verily Allah and His angels send blessings upon the Prophet. O ye who believe, ask blessings upon him and greet him with a worthy greeting. Amma ba'd. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, inshallah, today we would like to discuss and remind ourselves of the most precious thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And some people might think this is life, but in my opinion, it is the container of life that Allah gave us. And by that, I mean the nafs, the self, the soul. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in His book, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. ويسألونك عن الروح قل الروح من أمر ربي وما أوتيتم من علم إلا قليلا. صدق الله العظيم. Allah says in translation, and they ask you about the soul, is how many people translate it, saying the soul is from the decree of my Lord, and mankind has not been given of knowledge except a little. In my opinion, soul is not the correct translation. Ruh is spirit. And Allah says that the ruh is from Him. So Sheikh Saduq, in his book of creeds, writes, it is our belief that the nafs, the soul, it is our belief about the nafs, the soul, that it is the ruh which gives and causes life. So we see this separation, and I agree with the Sheikh, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala breathed into the human being from His ruh, from His spirit, into His nafs, which gave animation to the nafs, which gives animation to the human being, the body. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا سويت ونفخت فيه من روحي فقعوا له ساجدين. صدق الله العظيم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in another ayah in translation, so when I have proportioned him and breathed into him from my spirit, then fall down to him in prostration, meaning Sayyidina Adam. It is my belief that this spiritual breath from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the imparting of life to Sayyidina Adam. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made Sayyidina Adam, and he made a nafs for Sayyidina Adam, and when he united those two, the nafs had to be animated. And the animation of the nafs came from the ruh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is the possession of this spiritual breath from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I believe explains one of the reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded everything in creation to bow down to Adam. Because we know that animals don't have nafs. Jinn, Allahu Alam, he hasn't told us about their nafs or anything. And Allah says that there is limited knowledge of the ruh. And this is true. We don't know what the ruh is, except that it comes from Allah. But the nafs, there's a bunch of knowledge about the nafs. We know Allah says, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that He has taught the nafs what's right and wrong for it. And that the one who purifies it is successful, and the one who doesn't is not successful. So we have information about the nafs, how to take care of it and so forth. But the ruh is another thing. So again, this is one of the reasons why I believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told everything to bow down to Adam for this possession of life directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he had. And similar to Sayyidina Adam is Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna mathala Isa inda Allahi kamathali Adam. Khalaqahu min turabin thumma qala Allahu kun fayakun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed the example of Jesus is that of like Adam. He created him from dust, and then he said to him, be, and he was. So we know Allah created Adam with his own hands. Adam didn't have a father or a mother. He was created bodily from Allah, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from his own hands, blown into his nafs from the ruh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah says Prophet Isa was made from dust. And there's another ayah that says that Allah blew into his mother from his ruh. Same, similar kind of situation. So there's some connection between the creation of Prophet Isa and Prophet Adam. And one of the biologically consistent facts about the creation of those two is that they were both males. And Allah created Adam without a mother or father, but biologically speaking, you can't get a male from a female. Because a female doesn't have the chromosome for a male. If in asexual reproduction from a female, all you can get is female offspring. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a special status that Miriam was able to produce a man by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without male chromosome. So this may be one of the meanings of when Allah says that the male has a degree over the female. Because the male is the one who determines the sex of the child. If it weren't for males, there would only be females in the world. So again, this is another small fact about the creation that Allah did. Can we move forward, please? That Allah did for Sayyidina Adam and for Prophet Isa, and the similarities He said was between them, and He also blew into them from His ruh. Now, the nafs is not eternal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is eternal. Eternal means there's no beginning and there's no end. That's Allah. But the nafs is everlasting. Everlasting means that once it's created, it doesn't end, has no end. Doesn't die. The nafs doesn't die. The body dies, the earthly body, yes, it dies when it's separated from the nafs. But if we look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you say, well, it doesn't die, but said, "Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut." Every soul shall taste of death. This is true. And we all have tasted of death every time we go to sleep. We said our souls are taken by Allah and still in connection to our bodies. If Allah breaks that connection, then the body dies. But the nafs doesn't die. And inshallah, in the Holy Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith that you have not been created for annihilation. You have been created for everlasting life. The only thing is that you are moved from one world to another. So we want to start to understand the significance of the nafs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, and inshallah in the second part of the khutbah we'll speak a little more about the value and the significance of the nafs that Allah placed into each one of us and our responsibilities to it. الحمد لله فاتر السماوات والأرض جاعل الملائكة رسلا نوري أهنية مبنى وثلاث وأرباع يزيد في الخلق من يشاء إن الله على كل شيء قدير أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. So, what is death? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم ثم إليه ترجعون. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, how can you disbelieve in Allah when you were dead and He brought you to life, then He will cause you to die, then He will bring you back to life, then to Him is your return. So again, we said the nafs doesn't die. So what is Allah saying here? Well, the nafs is when Allah first, before He created anything, He created all of us in pre-existence. Allah says He removed from Adam all of his seeds. He said to them, Alaska be Rabbikum. Everyone said, Bala Shahidna. Yes, we bear witness that you are the Lord. So this is our nafs answering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the nafs does not have a life until there's a body that needs to have it. So the nafs in the garden, in the pre-existence, was sort of like in dormancy, like a seed in the ground. Contains all of the essences and needs for life, but until you put it into its natural habitat, the ground, water it, then it springs up. So the seed is not dead, it's just dormant. And that's how our nafs was before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala joined it with the body. We didn't have a body. Then Allah created a body for us in the womb of our mother. He created a body for Sayyidina Adam with his own hands. When He combined the nafs with that body, now it needs to be alive. Then He blew the ruh into it, and Adam became alive. Same as we said with Prophet Isa. So, death means separation of the nafs from the body. The human body, the earthly body dies, but the nafs lives on. So once Allah animated that nafs, it was never going to die after that. So when the body dies, the nafs is separated again from the body. So in a sense, it's dormant in the barzakh. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that behind them is a barzakh, a barrier between life and death, after the physical death of the life of this world. The human body, the earthly body, will rot, return back to what it used to be. So when Allah raises us up again, we're not going to have that body. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give us a new body, a body that's commensurate with the place that we are going to go in the akhirah. And there's only two places in the akhirah, the Jannah or the Jannah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that. He said, it is He who perfected everything, and He created and began the creation of man from clay. Sayyidina Adam. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, then he made his posterity out of the extract of a despised fluid, and that is the nutfah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in another ayah, from nutfah, he created him and destined him. So we see that the beginning of mankind was from clay, and then subsequent to that, with the exception of Prophet Isa, that the rest of us were created from the waters of nutfah, basically speaking. Just as we said, the seed is in the ground, you water it, it starts to come to life. The water of nutfah brings us to life in the womb of our mothers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the nafs to that alaq, that lump of flesh, and it becomes alive. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks again about the resurrection. He says, it's like when he sends clouds to a land that's dead, and the rain comes, and it comes to life. Well, what comes to life? The seeds that are buried in the ground. There are insects that live in the ground 17 years in dormant positions, 17 years of cave and so forth. So seeds that live in the ground until the water comes to bring them to life. Nafs that are held in the barzakh until held in the al-ra'id until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the waters of nutfah to revivify them and then place them in a body. And after the death of the physical body, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the nafs in a dormant state in the barzakh, and then in the Yawm al-Qiyamah, he gives it a new body commensurate with its place in the akhirah. Now, if you're going to the hellfire, we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that there in the hellfire, the people will burn, their skin will go back and they'll burn again, and their skin will go back and they'll burn again, and they'll drink boiling water. That's not a human body. A human body can't do that. You burn it one time, that's it. So this is a Jahannam body, a body that's given to you after resurrection to be able to fulfill what Allah has prescribed for the people of the Jahannam. Different body. The Jannah body, the Prophet ﷺ said of the people of the Jannah, he said in the hadith from Bukhari, the first group that enter paradise will be shining like the moon when it's full. The next group will be like the most radiant planet in the sky. They will not urinate, relieve nature, spit, or blow their noses. Their combs will be of gold, and their sweat of musk, and censers of aloe wood will be used. Their wives will be from the Hur al-Ain, and their shape will be similar to that of each other, the shape of their father Adam, 60 cubits in the sky. A cubit is about 18 inches, so Adam is 90 feet tall. That's the shape that you'll have in the Jannah. So is that a human body? You ever seen a human being that was 90 feet tall? You haven't seen it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us all of this information about the nafs. So there's the ruh that we don't have much information about, and it's really not necessary to know, other than that it is the animating factor of the nafs. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Allah is the light of the heavens and earth. So when we understand this, we can see just how valuable the nafs is, because it carries the ruh. And while the ruh is not your responsibility, the nafs is your responsibility. And that's the point that we want to make, because the nafs can be in three different conditions. Nafs al-amara, the soul prone to evil. The nafs al-awama, the self-correcting soul. And the nafs al-mutmainah, which is the soul that is pleased with Allah and pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Most people, can we move forward, please? When they come into the world, they have a nafs al-amara. They have a nafs that's prone to evil and selfishness. And we can only have to look at our children and see that. When a baby comes into the world, When he wants food, he'll cry, and he'll cry until he gets what he wants. He doesn't care what's going on around him. He doesn't care what his mother's doing. She could be having another baby. So what? Give me my milk. You know? Other little children, when they grow up a little more, they get toys and stuff. The first thing they learn is mine, mine, no. They learn those before they say yes and shit. You got to teach them those words. So we see the nature of the nafs, and inshallah, the parents will train the child to train his nafs to become the nafs al-awam, the self-correcting soul, the soul that learns to delay gratification, the soul that learns to share, the soul that seeks out the right way to do things, and when it doesn't do things right, feels bad and corrects itself. All of this is gearing it towards becoming the nafs al-mutmainah, the soul that's pleasing to Allah and pleased with Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the nafs al-mutmainah, O nafs al-mutmainah, return to your Lord, well pleased and pleasing to Him, and enter among my servants, enter my paradise. This is the words we want to hear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in order to hear these words, it's not directed towards the nafs al-amara. It's not directed towards the nafs al-awama. It's directed towards the nafs al-mutmainah. Meaning that each of us has a soul that we have to take care of and strive to move towards the nafs al-mutmainah. And this is why the nafs is the most important possession that you have, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, alaykum anfusakum. You are responsible for your own soul. The one who purifies it, he didn't say who gets it purified, he said who purifies it, means it's an active thing you have to do. And each one of us have to do that, or our nafs will not be purified. And we do that by following the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the deen of al-Islam in the proper way and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala according to the guidance that He gave us. And that's what this is all about. That's what Islam is about. How to guide your nafs from the nafs al-amara to the nafs al-mutmainah, inshallah. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq, to help us to guide our nafs by following His guidance, following the guidance of the Anbiya. He said us being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, avoiding the things He asks us to avoid to the best of our ability, making tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we don't. Allahumma اغفر للمسلمين والمسلمات المؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك أنت السميع القريب مجيب الدعوات يا رب العالمين. ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. Ramadan Mubarak. May Allah make all of you successful in your fasting, and Eid Mubarak, inshallah. Aqimu salat.
To understand and really understand the meaning of Muslims, Islam, and how we live, and what we think, and the way we treat our family, our children, and the way we do business in America.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.